I don't know what I mean, so you've got no chance. It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Okay then, this is Paperboy on the Game Boy, theoretically. We're playing it via an EverDrive cartridge on the Nintendo Super Game Boy cartridge in a Super NES, SNES, SNES. I've never played this version, I don't think. I like Paperboy, though I'm not good at it. Never been good at it. Played it in the arcades. Oh, get up the curb, you knob. Was never good at it in the arcades. In fact, it's a weird one actually, because while I played it, I didn't entirely like it. It always seemed kind of flawed. I wouldn't say it controlled well. The handlebars were interesting. You know, you had this handlebar controller thing, and I liked that. Oh God, you bastard. Something about the game felt unfair. Possibly things like that. And it might just be because I was crap at it. You go away. But I still, even though something about it seemed kind of, oh you bugger, seemed kind of wrong, I still kept coming back to it and playing it. I think I was interested in the graphical nature of it, the isometric thing. Something about the isometric view seems kind of off. It always, you know, not just on this version, but the arcade version, it seemed the isometric was sort of wrong. I don't know. Oh. Nevertheless, I'll tell you what the bloody hell? Mad Santa? Oh, oh you bastard. That looked like Santa having some kind of Barney. Not the skateboarder, the guy who came running out chasing me. Had I failed to deliver his paper? Don't know. Oh God. Yeah, it's a lot better than the Acorn Electron version. I'll give it that. I got that. I had it back in the day, and I've still got my original tape. I think I've got it twice actually. I bought one and then I seem to acquire another one later on. Come on, get past there. Go, go, go. Why were they? I don't know what they were riding. It looked like they were on Sinclair C5s, which seems improbable on a Game Boy version. What are they? What am I chucking things at? What? Whoa. Yay, I went up a ramp and jumped. Whoa, whoa. Okay, whoa. I'm not oh, bollocks. Okay. Monday. I was listening to Bowie earlier and now I'm just hearing where the F did Monday go. Yeah, cancelled subscriptions, lots. Lost subscribers on YouTube, many. I don't know why I lobbed that in there, it just seemed like a wide open door. Yeah, let's give them a free newspaper. Get off. Go away. Oh dear, broken window. Whoops. Can't get that one curb in the way. What the hell? Do you read, Mr. Undertaker? Not Undertaker. Death? Grim Reaper. That's the word I'm looking for. Swarm of bees? Yeah. There's quite a bit of variety in this, to be fair. It's not bad. Whoops! Oh, bollocks. I was looking at the window and not whatever I just ran into. The Daily Sun. Don't buy the Sun. It's absolute despicable, horrible, hate-filled right-wing propaganda. Awful, awful, awful newspaper. Don't buy it. Okay, that is Paperboy on the Game Boy. It's quite good. It's flawed in some ways. I think the original game is flawed, but the concept is interesting and I do like it, even though I kind of don't like it. I don't know what I mean, so you've got no chance. Thank you for watching.
Hello, today's question for Q&A is from Sean Woolfenden, link to his channel down there. He asks, for Q&A, do you think the retro gaming scene will become less mainstream and become less popular in the future? Do you mean more or less? Yes, I think you do. I personally feel the current generation of 30 to 50-year-olds in general who are reliving their childhood, or will it continue to grow or just always be around? I ask this as while I feel the recent announcement of the third arcade club opening in Blackpool, will too much retro kill the scene again and it slowly go back to a geek club? I worry things may go away in time, like the arcade scene died in the 90s. Hope this makes sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Is the scene going to grow, or is it going to wither away and die? Will the people who are into retro now move on or get old and die, and there not be a new generation of people interested in retro gaming? How is it all going to pan out in the long run? Good question. Not completely certain of the answer. There are a couple of factors. I think people will always be interested in... They're always going to have hobbies, and as their hobbies and the technology behind them advance, there will always be an interest in how it used to be. Not just technology, but all kinds of things. There are people who are interested in vintage cars. Antiques have always been... There's always been people into antiques. Not necessarily mainstream, but there are always people who are into them. So, yeah, I think there will always be an interest in retro, but there's another thing that's kind of being thrown into the mix, in that the retro gamers and retro collectors tend to be into the stuff that was current when they were in their teens or 20s. So as they get older, it's like the current in thing to be into is maybe PS1 or N64, where for me it was like Atari 2600. And that the fashionable retro item moves on. Fine, except we're getting to a point now where we're not quite there, but when the current hardware stops having physical media, so it's digital download only, or worse, what happens when the current gaming hardware is purely streamed? I hope we don't hit that point. I really loathe the idea of games being streamed only. But at such a time, retro collecting gets difficult. There are ways around it with digital download stuff. I thought the PSP Go was going to be an absolute disaster, because as soon as the PSP store shuts down, your handheld would be useless. It's like if you bought one second hand, the games were on it were all you could have. You couldn't download any more. That's what I thought, but of course I wasn't accounting for custom firmware. I now have a PSP Go which I absolutely love. I can't download anything from the PSP store, but I've got a ton of games on it because I just download them from wherever the hell, and it'll run anything and everything, emulator-wise and PSP game-wise. Piracy, yeah, bit naughty, but you know, if they're not going to support it, you've got no other option really. And that kind of thing works for digital downloads if you've got custom custom firmware on your hardware. There's a cat. It's Evie. I don't think you've seen Evie. I don't know if she's going to let me. Come here, fat girl. This is Evie. She's a fat girl. Don't jump on the laptop. So yeah, retro collecting is probably still viable when it's digital download if you've got custom firmware. But the moment we get into streamed only content, that's it. Retro collecting and retro gaming is out the window. And we have seen it where gaming services have just stopped supporting a particular game. They've maybe lost the license or whatever. People have paid their money to own that game, but the streaming service has lost the license, and hey presto, regardless that you've paid money, you can no longer play that game. And if the streaming service itself fails, and so far most of them seem to have failed, and if they haven't yet, they're going to. Yeah, as a retro thing, streaming hardware it's a non-starter, and I don't know what the scene will do when that kind of hardware becomes retro, if you know what I mean. Will there be any nostalgia to be had for what is effectively just a dumb terminal anyway? The hardware itself will be irrelevant. So that might, if streaming only becomes the way gaming goes in the future, then I think retro will die. The people who are interested in the stuff that we're interested in now will have died, or just be too damned old. Until then, I don't know. I think it's going to remain as mainstream as it is now for a while, couple of decades, I think. There is life in the scene for a good couple of decades, and there will always be an interest in antiques, like the really, really, really old stuff. There will be people who will be interested in it, but it won't be mainstream. In terms of value, I don't know. Will things that are, I mean, the value of retro hardware at the moment keeps going up. Some things very expensive, some things not so much, but you know, 50 years from now, will a 2600 be worth a fortune, or will there be no one around who cares? Couldn't honestly tell you. Yeah, overall, I think there will always be a niche that is interested in retro gaming, but as a mainstream thing, I think it'll hit a point where it just dies, because the hardware will cease to matter if it's all streamed. Hope that makes sense and isn't just a bit too vague. Anyway, anyone else who's got a question they would like answering in a video like this, leave your question in the comments below. And I've forgotten what I was going to say. Begin with for Q&A, so I know not to just answer in the comments. And thank you for watching.
Right, hit the subscribe button or I'm getting naked on camera. Go on, do it. Right, you asked for it. Ah, you asked for it. Ha, 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 oh.